Hi guys, welcome back. In today's lesson, we're talking about comparative and superlative adjectives. This is part one of two lessons on comparative and superlatives, but next week we're talking about nouns. I noticed that online there are a lot of lessons on adjectives and adverbs when it comes to comparative and superlative, but not that much on nouns, so that's what we'll touch on next week. So please stay tuned for that. Some basic things to remember are comparative is between two items or situations. So Mary is taller than her sister. We're comparing Mary and sister, right? And taller is my adjective here. Superlative is referring to three or more. So we're going to look at the highest or the lowest degree of something. In this case, Mary is the tallest in her class. Another basic rule for superlative is that every time you use a superlative, you're going to use the article the in front of whatever superlative you're using. So how do you form a comparative or superlative? For most one-syllable words, we're going to add er or est. For example, cheap will be cheaper, the cheapest. Loud, louder or the loudest. Tough, tougher, tougher or the toughest. For most two-syllable words ending in y, we're going to drop the y and add ier or iest. So syllable, if you're unaware, you can look at syllable as a beat in a word. For example, skinny has two syllables, skinny. My name is Christina. In my name, it will be Christina. It will be three syllables. So again, two-syllable words ending in y, we're going to add ier or iest. So skinny, skinnier, the skinniest, all with I. Healthy, healthier, or the healthiest. And funny, funnier, or the funniest. So other two or more syllable words, we're adding the word more or the most. We're no longer using er or est. For example, elegant has three syllables. We're going to say more elegant or less elegant, depending on if we're going higher or lower in degree, or the most elegant or the least elegant. Stubborn, more stubborn, less stubborn. The most stubborn or the least stubborn. Serious, more serious or less serious. The most serious or the least serious. And then there are some irregular words. For example, the adjective good becomes better. It's not more good or gooder, but it's a completely new word. It becomes better. And then the superlative is the best. The word bad, adjective bad, becomes worse, and then the superlative becomes the worst. Far becomes farther, and then the superlative becomes farthest. And then here I put this as well, because the original word, the base word far, applies for both of these. What do you think the difference is between FAR farther and FUR farther? The first one, farther, is the physical distance. So your house is farther than my house from school, right? He ran farther than she did. So we're talking about a physical distance, whereas further with the U, it talks about non-physical distances. For example, I want to go further in my education. So you want to go pursue more education, but it's not a physical distance that can be measured by miles or feet, right? So physical distance, use FARTHER. Non-physical, then you would use further, and of course that applies both to comparative and superlative. A few notes here about comparative. Often we use the word than when we compare two things or people. And if we don't use it, then it's implied, meaning it should be clear who you're talking about or who you're comparing something to. Numbers 1, 2, 3 is pretty much the same sentence, but here the formality goes down with each sentence. The first one says, John is taller than I. And I just have a subject pronoun there and there's no verb. It's just one subject pronoun, I. That's the most formal. The second formal is, or semi-formal is, John is taller than I am. And then we have a subject pronoun and a verb. Number 3 says, John is taller than me. And here, I think this is the most casual and commonly heard way to compare, which is just using an object pronoun. So that will be the least formal and that will be the most casual. Now let's talk about a commonly made mistake when it comes to comparatives. A lot of people use the word more and the word er. But er already means more, so you only want to use one of them. For example, a lot of people say, he's more faster than she is. So more and er. My son talks like this, but he is 3 years old, so maybe he's allowed. But please just either say more and adjective or just adjective with er. Please use only one of them. The second sentence example says, this computer is more better than my old one. More and better are both comparative words. Better means more good, right? So you're actually saying, this computer is more good than my old one. So again, just please choose one. Just use better. And the last one is a sentence with no mistake. He is faster than she is. Again, using one comparative. The same thing goes with superlatives. Don't repeat est and the most. For example, do not say, my dad is the most smartest person in the family. You should only use one of them, so my dad is the smartest person in the family. And the second example says, you are the bestest mommy. You are the most bestest mommy. So, best is already a superlative, right? It's good, better, the best. So this est can't be there anyway. Here we are just going nuts with 3 superlatives, right? So again, we just want to use one of either superlative or the comparative. Now let's finish off today's lesson with a short practice. Please fill in the chart with the appropriate comparative and superlative adjectives, and please pause this video for more time. So for the first word, early, it's a 2-syllable word that ends in a Y. So we're going to drop that Y and put IER. So let's do earlier and the earliest. And we're going to assume that for this column, the word the is assumed there. The second word says simple. It becomes simpler and the simplest. We're not going to add another E because it ends in an E anyway. The third word is boring. It's more boring versus the most boring. Ooh, that's an I. The fourth word, heavy, is also a 2-syllable word that ends in a Y. So same thing, we're going to drop that Y. It becomes heavier and the heaviest. Boop. Patient, you just add the word more in front of it. More patient and the most patient. And then the last one, we're gonna just add ER. This is the basic one. Harder and the hardest. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that helpful, and if you did, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. And please stay tuned for next week's video where we'll talk about comparative and superlative nouns. And if you're wondering how do we do that with nouns, you're going to find out next week. I'll see you guys then.